Hello friends, hope you're all fine, and today we are gonna make a small project. We are gonna work on a small project about forms. So we are gonna create forms in CSS. Now how can we do this? It's very simple. Let me show you first demo what we are gonna do. We are going to create this. You can see the very beautiful mirror shadow here, and it looks like something mirror. And one more thing, that once you click on it, it changes its colors. And how I am just making this centering the elements, and you can see the hover effects, the border turn into background, and how this background image is blurred only in this box area. So we are going to cover these all topics in this video, and we are going to create this form from scratch. So it's very basic, but you have to know the basic to jump to advanced. So let's do it. First of all, let me minimize it. I have a simple folder with the background image. Okay, now I'm going to open it with VS Code editor. Actually, as I told you before in my earlier videos, that it's an editor that is used to edit text, code, or it is very easy to use, and it gives you very nice opportunity and development area and development environment. So it helps a lot for developers. So if you are a beginner or advanced developer or professional developer, you should use this editor. So this is my background image. As you can see, this is my background image, and I'm going to create two more files here. As you know that I'm going to create the index.html file, and one more file is style.css. If it is very small for you, I'm making it zoom. Okay, so I created two files, index.html and style.css. Now it's very easy. First of all, I'm gonna create a boilerplate here. So this is my boilerplate, and then I'm going to just link a CSS file here. So I linked a CSS file. As you can see, this is my CSS file linked. Okay, sorry for noise. Now I'm going to change its title to complete form. You can name it something more good, but I'm just requiring make it simple. Okay, now first of all, I'm going to take a class of main. Okay, because I'm going to actually use the flexbox to center the forms. Okay, so how I centered this form, actually I use a flexbox here, and I use too much flexbox in this tutorial, so it will clear all your concepts. So that's why I created a main here. Then I'm going to use a form tag, and inside a form tag I'm going to use a class here, and name the class like form container. Now the next thing I'm going to do is, first of all, I'm going to reset everything from here. Like I'm going to reset margin, and I'm going to reset padding, and then box sizing set to border box, so it will prevent from changing the width when I adjust the padding or margin on my element. So it will make your site more responsive and good to go, and it will help to debug more efficient. So these three lines you must have to enter in your project, so it will make much easier for you. Now the next thing I'm also going to do, I'm going to apply a font size here. So actually it's a universal selector, as you can see, It's a universal selector. So what will it do? Actually, it will select all the elements and set these properties to those elements, to all the elements. So it will set margin to all elements to 0 and padding 0 to all elements, then box sizing, border box to all elements. Similarly, it will actually, not font size, I'm going to give a font family here, and this font family will apply on all the elements. So this is very okay and simple, but as we are creating the elements and markup here, you can see very great change and very becoming it sometimes becomes very stuffy, so you have to focus on everything. So first of all, I selected a body here and I'm going to set a background. You can use background or background image, whatever you want. And then I'm going to set a URL here and then set the URL and give the image of it. Now once I refresh it here, nothing is changed for now. Okay, it's not a problem. The next thing that I can do is I'm going to set a background repeat to none, not background to none, background repeat, and set it to no repeat. Okay, now once you again come here and refresh, as you can see, this is the image is appeared, but it's not looking like this image, the image here. So how can I fix this problem? Now actually it's very simple. You have to know about some of the properties that I just told you in my videos of background images and parallax effects, whatever. So I'm going to set the background size to cover, and one more thing, background position is very important here. So background position, not position X, just background position to center, and then again center, so it will center vertically and horizontally, or horizontally and vertically. I don't know the order of what comes first, so you can check it on internet. So I just take it as center, and once you refresh it, you can see something like this. Now okay, it's totally fine. We set everything nicely and good. Now one more thing I'm going to set is background attachment to fixed. Okay, so these are all the properties that I want to apply here, and once I set the background attachment to fixed, you can see now whatever the content here, the background will remain same, and it actually is used for parallax effect, and you can watch the video of my backgrounds. Okay, now I again come back to my markup area, or you can say HTML file, and then I'm going to set some input here, like input text with a placeholder, and the placeholder is like enter your maybe name or first name. Okay, and I am going to copy it and paste it here, and then enter your last name. Let me capitalize it here also. Okay, now what else I can do? Once I refresh it here, it looks something like this, and you can see the fonts family is applying, so it looks great. Okay, the next thing that I can do is very simple, and that is, first of all, I'm going to off this. Yeah, the next thing that I can do is again I'm going to make an input here with type of email and set its name to email. Actually it doesn't matter what you are setting it here, so I'm just filling it out, and then I'm just going to set a placeholder with enter your email address. Once you refresh, it looks like something this. Okay, and another thing that I can use it in, actually how it is breaking, actually I using it here, word wrap. So if you are beginner, don't know what is the word wrap, you can see the word and space WRAP, and once I just use it here, you can see the word wrap of my editor is on, and if I off it from here, now if you can see, this is in one line actually, and I have to scroll it. So for preventing this problem, I just on the word wrap, so it will break the line if the window is no more. So the next thing that I can do, and then again I'm going to put the input here with type of password, and then I'm going to name it as pass, and then ID with also pass, and also I can use a placeholder here, enter password. Once you refresh, you can see there is 4 boxes appeared for entering or inputting data. Now the last one is our button, and I'm also going to put it here by just using the input type to submit like this, and set its value to submit like this. Once you refresh, you can see the submit, it's a value, and it's the button. So this is my simple you can say this is my simple form, and we are gonna convert it into this. So don't worry, keep your motivation up to top, and we'll cover it. And one more thing, that I'm going to autocomplete it off, so it won't give suggestions that I entered in my forms, in my login forms, like if I log in on Facebook or Instagram or whatever. So it won't give any suggestions, or it won't give the email addresses. So it's just for security purpose. If you want to use it or you don't want to use it, it's totally up to you. Now I'm going to refresh it from here again, and it is taking too much time to load. And one more thing, because actually it is taking too much time because of this image is heavy, so it is taking time. Now one more thing that you can figure out, that this here is a overlay and here is no overlay. Okay, actually it's the original image, and it's also an original image, but I overlaid a background gradient here. So how can I fix this problem? It's very simple, and I'm going to settings again here, and then I'm going to use a keyword linear gradient, and then after writing the linear gradient, I'm going to give a RGBA value, so I can make a transparent layout here. 0 0 0 is for black color, and then I'm going to give its you can say I'm going to give its opacity. So I'm going to give 0.345 or 342 actually, and then I'm going to give a comma here, and then I'm going to give again RGBA value, and then I'm going to give the same red, green and blue to set it to 0, and then I'm going to give its opacity with 0.335. Now if I refresh, and now you can see the background image is gone. This is because this syntax is not correct. So how can we fix this? You just have to simply put a comma here, and if you put a comma here, and once you refresh your web page, now you can see the overlay is just like this. So how cool it is. Okay, so now you can overlay your background images, and it's very simple, but it's something very good to learn. So actually in this project you will learn too much, everything. Okay, so it is total give you a project based knowledge. Now the next thing that I can do, and I'm going to use attribute selector, and if you don't know about attribute selector, you have to watch the attribute selector video that I gave a complete guide on that in my CSS playlist. So there is only one video, I think, so it's up to maybe 30 minutes, and you have to know about the complete guide so you can understand what I'm writing here. So now the next thing that I can do is using a type here. Now it's a simple attribute selector, and it will select those attributes that have a type. It's as simple as it is. So it have a type, it have a type, it have a type, it have a type, and it have a type. So it will select all these inputs that have a type. So now I'm going to set a padding here with 4 pixels from top, bottom, and left, right. Okay, maybe it's enough. And then I'm going to give a margin bottom of 7 pixels. Now once I show you it from here, it looks like this. Okay, now that's looking good and very good. Now why I give a margin bottom here, because once I move these elements to one of each other, coming after each other, so they will be very close. So that's why I'm giving a margin bottom here for the future purpose. So now the next thing that I can do is outline. I'm going to set the outline to none. And the next thing that I can do is set a background color. Background C for background color, it's the power of Ahmad extension. And I'm going to set it to, you can say, transparent. So this white background color will be removed after setting it to transparent. Now I know it's not looking good that you want, so don't worry, we will fix it in later time. Now I'm going to put a border here to 1 pixel solid, and I think so it should be white, FFF for white. And once you refresh, you can see this white border here on each of every type input type element. Now the next thing that I can do is, again I'm coming here to type. Again, sorry, I have to use these brackets, so I can select the type attribute selector. So those elements that have type attribute, it will select those elements. Now I'm going to give on focus. I'm using this focus here. So once someone focus on each element, click on the element, so what will happen? These properties will apply there. So I'm going to set it background color to white, so it changes transparent to white. And then one more thing is color to black. And once you refresh, the thing is changed. But once you click on something and try to enter, you can see this is very good. Once you click on another thing, the color is changed. So this is known as focus state. Okay, so I'm focusing on the elements. And one more thing that I can do is main. Yeah, main. So how can I use the main element? So this is my main, and I'm going to apply the flex on it because I want it to be centered this form element. So it's very easy and very simple. First of all, you have to select the main here, not me, actually it's main. Okay, so I selected a main class that have the complete elements of form. So I selected this main and put this display to flex. And once you refresh, nothing is changed and everything remains same. And then I'm going to use justify content to center, and once you refresh, you can see a change here. The change is that the elements are in center now. Another thing that I can do is to set the align items to center, and it won't work. It will work when I give it a height. So So once I give a height it to like 98 VH, 98 means 98 VH, VH means viewport height, and once you refresh it will become in center. So it's something looks like this. It is in center now, but it is not top of each other. So how can I set this problem? So again I will use Flexbox for this purpose. Now for this purpose I come here and first of all I'm going to put in different divs, so I can select those divs and then I can arrange it as I want. So I'm going to like select it as first and then last name. Okay, first last name, it's my class, and then I want to looks like this. So actually this is my one container. Then I'm going to make another container with email pass like so, email pass. Okay, so it will remind me that in this container you have two elements that are email and password, and one more, and the last one is actually a button. So I will use a class here of submit. Okay, and for button I am going to just write a btn. So now it's something looks like this. Now once I refresh it here, you can see it looks like this, but I don't want to look like it here. So how can I do this? Change it? So it's very and easy where you can do this by using a Flexbox again. So I'm using too much Flexbox in this video, and this is because you have to grab the knowledge on how we can use Flexboxes. So first of all I'm going to use my first first name, and I think so first and last name maybe looks like this. But if I want to check first last name, maybe I'm using capital F. No, actually I wrote everything similar here, and now I'm going to put this, and I'm going to put the display to flex and justify content to center. And then if maybe I should not use justify content here because I don't want to center it anymore. And once you refresh, you can see the margin between those two elements is removed. Now I'm going to just put one more thing, and that is flex direction to column. And once you refresh it, you can see the great change that it is one and it's second. So it becomes, this div is becoming into column order. So this is the power of flex. You can use flex in many more ways, but I'm using it in this way. One more thing that I can do is I'm going to put a width here of 82%. Why I'm using 82%? Actually it will increase it, something looks like this, or sorry, it will decrease, something looks like this. Now the next thing that I'm going to do, I'm going to select the second div, that is I think so email and pass. Let me show you here. Yeah, it's correct, email pass. And now I'm going to target this one. So I'm going to display it to flex, and once you refresh it, you can again see the margin is no more here. Then I'm going to use justify content to center, and then one more thing that I can use it here is width to 84%. 84%, not 4%. Actually I want to put 84%. Once you refresh it, you can see it is becoming in center because of justify content to center, and its width is more than this width, and we will fix it in just a minute, so don't worry. Now the next thing that I can do is I'm going to select the email pass here again, and I will select those inputs that are coming inside the email pass. If you don't know about what is actually happening, why I'm using in this way, you should watch my video on CSS combinators. Okay, So actually I tell everything about these kind of uses of why I'm using it here. So it will actually give you more specifically. Okay, so the next thing that I'm using it here, actually I'm giving it more specific selector. So it will just select those inputs that are coming that is coming in email pass container, and I'm going to give its width to 100%. Now if I show you what it looks like, actually it is giving 100% of it, and I'm going to minimize it, and here, yeah. The next thing that I can do is set a margin here, not max width, a margin here, and I'm going to set a margin from top and bottom to 0, and then left and right to 4 pixels. Once you refresh, you can see this change. Okay, what is happening? It is not giving any margin from top and bottom, but it is giving a margin from left and right. Okay, and one more thing that I can do is put a margin bottom, because you can see that my button is just very close to it, and I don't want it to be very close here. So I'm going to just remove just giving it a margin bottom here, so you can see the button is now looking separated from this form. Okay, now I think so it's very easy for now. Okay, now the next thing is that I can set it here is, you can see this is the mirror like. Okay, so how can I make this mirror effect here? So it's very simple, or you can say the glass effect. So how I can make this glass effect? So it's very simple, you can make it in just seconds. So first of all, here is the thing that I have the form container. I'm just gonna copy it from here and just paste it here, and then I'm going to set a box shadow here, and then set it to 0 0, that is from X Y. Actually, why I'm using box shadow is just giving a shadow here, like this is the shadow that is coming. So I'm going to give it a shadow of 0 0 from X axis and Y axis, so it will be in center. This shadow starts from the center, and then I'm going to separate it 20 pixel, and I'm going to blur it 20 pixel, and then I don't want to separate it, so I just put a 0 here, and then I just put a color. So I'm just putting a color of black. Once you refresh it here, 1 minute, once you refresh, you can see the a little bit gloss effect without any blur effect. So we will fix that blur effect. For just now, you can see this one thing. Now I am going to set its height here to 20, you can see PC, actually it's a unit, 20 PC, and again a width here to 25 PC, maybe just more than this. And once you refresh, you can see this becomes like this one. So actually increasing its height and width. Now another thing that I can do, I'm going to put it in flex mode. So if I want to center this one in this div, okay, so I want these all inputs in the center. So how can I fix this problem? Now it's very simple. You can do it by just putting flex, and once you refresh, it looks something like this. I know it's very weird, so I'm going to put align items here to center, and once you refresh, it is becoming in center. Now I just put a flex direction here and set it to column, and now you can see that it is becoming inside this column. Now I'm just putting a justify content center, so it will center itself vertically. So this is very simple, and as you can see that it is almost complete, and these width are actually adjusted by itself. by just putting the flex items. And one more thing that I can do here is, if I want to make it blur, so I don't use this blur here, I'm going to put a backdrop filter. It's a property in CSS, and most developers use this property, and just put the blur here and give the value how much blur you want. Let's suppose I want 4 pixel blur, and once I refresh, you can see the blur effect is open. So this is the power of CSS, the backdrop filter. Now the next thing that I can do is, I'm going to target this my submit button. So this is my submit button, and I want to target it here. So I'm targeting it here and put its width to 100%. And once you refresh, actually it is taking its full width from here to here. And then I want to flex direction, not flex direction. Actually, I want to set it as flex. So display flex. Once you refresh, nothing is changing yet. But once I just declare a justify content to center, it will center itself horizontally, like this. But now its container width is 100%. So actually it is taking its width from here to here. Okay, and if I want to show you what I mean by this, if I just select the input that is coming inside this container, and if I set its width also to 100%, now you can see nothing is changed. Okay, this is changed, it is taking its full width, but I don't want to take it like this. I will just want to take it 80%, not 90, let's suppose 80%, and I think so 81 is good. And once you refresh, yeah, it's now okay. Next thing that I can do, as I'm using here a border of 1 pixel solid green, and once you refresh, now you can see its border is changed to green one. Another thing that I can do is I can put the outline here. So I'm putting the outline and set it to none. So this button, if someone click on this button, the outline will remain none. And sorry for the noise that is coming from outside of my house. And again, that I'm going to put a background color to transparent, and once you refresh, actually it is already I declared, and then I put a cursor here. Then I put a cursor here and set it to pointer. And once you refresh, now if I hover on it, you can see the cursor is becoming pointer once I hover on this input button. Now the next thing, I want to again target this button by just putting it here and applying the hover effects on it by just putting a background color to green one. Once someone hover on it, I want to change its color to white. If I refresh it again, and now you can see once I hover on it, it is changing its color. And one more thing, I think so it's the last thing for now, is using the placeholder here and set its color to white. Now once I refresh, actually it's completed. Yeah, it's looking great, and you can see this. But as I click on it, the placeholder is no more, and here you can see once I click on it, the placeholder becomes black. And one more thing, that you can see the smoothness, and here is no smoothness, it's just jumping. So how can I fix this? It's very easy. You just have to put a transition here, so it will apply on all elements. So
So I'm going to put a transition of 0.4 second. That means it will be in milliseconds of, you can say that 400 millisecond maybe. Okay, and put it to linear, or just remain it as it is. And once you refresh in your web page, now once I click on it, you can see it is not jumping now, it is actually behaving very smoothly. Yeah, but you can see the color of the placeholder is removing once I hover on it. So how can I fix this? It's very easy. I have to select the type here, typ, by just writing type, and then what can I do? I want to make it focus. So if focus on it, what can be changed? The placeholder change. So someone focus on these elements, the placeholder changed to what? This property will apply to it, like this. Once you refresh here, and once you click on it, you can see its color is changing. So this is very great. Now if you are not understood by how I'm using this property, you can check the CSS combinator video, and you can also check the pseudo classes in CSS. So these two videos will help you so much for this purpose. And one more thing, you should watch the attribute selector also. So actually, if you are following the series of my CSS playlist, so you don't have to worry anything about it. It's very simple and clear, easy, that I'm giving and speaking it here. So it's actually the very easy way that I'm creating this thing, and there are a lot of ways that you can create it by just using CSS grid system or whatever. So I'm using it with Flex because I just created a video on Flex. I didn't create a video on you can say grid system of CSS. So if I create the grid system of CSS, so I will make a video on CSS or on forms, and I will use the grid system. So it will make it much easier for me. For now, I think so. It's just like this one. So I hope you enjoyed this tutorial so much, and sorry for the noise that is coming from outside of my house, and Eid Mubarak for all of the users, and that's it for now, and I hope you enjoyed and learned from here. So thanks for watching again and again, and please do share this video, to subscribe to my channel, and Allah Hafiz.